Myprotein founder explains how he turned $750 into a $500 million exit. Case study. Hey, everyone! I found this thread from Oliver Cookson, the founder of Myprotein. Thought it was pretty inspiring, so thought I'd share it here. Some context. Oliver Cookson is the founder of leading sports nutrition brand Myprotein. He started it with a $750 overdraft. He exited it for $500 million UST, plus 350 million GBP. Obviously, the currency rates fluctuate. Also, please note this includes a secondary exit. So he first sold for a portion in cash in 2011. Then in 2020, during the IPO, he sold the majority of the remaining shares. I began my business with a ERS 500 overdraft and an idea. I exited with over EPS 350 million, the creation of a household brand and an international business. Here's the story of how passion, determination, and belief helped me bootstrap my way from a huge bet to a huge return. It's 2003. Lifting weights explodes. It became an all-consuming passion for me. It was more than just turning up at the gym to me. It was a lifestyle. The people, the gyms, the motivation, the books. I read everything I could get my hands on. Nutrition was a big part of my fitness journey, and one night, while drinking my pre-bed shake, a curious alarm bell went off in my head. What the hell is whey protein anyway? It was time to do a quick Google search. This was the single most important question I would ever ask myself. Google pulled up the info. The most interesting things about whey protein when I Googled it in 2003 were two things. 1. It cost me a fortune to buy at the time. 2. I only wanted to buy a couple of sacks of the whey to test the water, but I could only buy it in bulk. And I mean bulk, because as far as the dairies were concerned, if someone was serious about business, they'd buy a lot. I was extremely serious, but I didn't have 1,800. AtsBC refused my startup loan application. NatWest refused my startup loan application, but they did offer to extend my overdraft from $750 to $500. This was the glimmer of hope I needed. Armed with the overdraft, I rang every dairy I could find, and they all said the same thing. I had to buy bulk. It felt as though I was banging my head against a brick wall. I'd made dozens of calls and was getting nowhere. Until I met a guy called Andy, who heard something in me I knew was there, but no one else seemed to spot. I can hear how determined you are, but it takes more than enthusiasm to make a business work, he said. It wasn't a yes, but it was an opening. Andy had his reservations, but I knew exactly how I was going to sell the protein powder, and once I told Andy that, his attitude shifted. He sold me my first sack of whey protein powder. We were off. The first version, Myprotein. It's 2004. I had no access to no code tools. That's all I needed to build the first version of Myprotein. The website became a key ingredient in Myprotein's success more later. Debt free in a week. I promised Andy to sell 2 sacks in 7 days. It had taken me just 2 days to convert those first 2 sacks of raw whey powder I'd bought from him into sales. In 7 days, I sold 7 sacks and was completely debt-free. That includes the overdraft. Bootstrapped marketing. I will create a separate thread on this too. But my most significant advantage is understanding my customers and where they hang out and what their needs were. Forums. I found a forum that sold a sticky post for tens of pounds as a trial. I went with it and immediately made Enroy. This was one of my main traffic channels in the beginning. Later, I expanded to build out a big AdWords campaign and any channel I could find. Service speaks louder than words. The most crucial part if you want to scale any company is service. Before you think about growth hacks, you want to nail the product and customer service. Why? You have to pay to acquire more customers to get the same number of sales due to fewer repeat purchases. One bad review can kill dozens or even hundreds of sales. At this point, I hadn't yet hired anyone. Every part of the business was me, in no order. Fulfillment, manufacturing, customer service, web dev design, marketing, SEO, ads, copy, etc. Business admin, financed. 16, 20-hour days were standard, but it paid off. Although it wasn't easy, I did enjoy tackling problems, learning new skills, as I've always had a hands-on approach. My first hire, Mum. Mums are a godsend, and mine certainly was. She was the first person I hired, and she took a 75s pay cut from the secretary job she switched from. She worked with me until the day I sold Myprotein. The importance of innovation and trend spotting. Innovation is essential if you want to become a category leader, especially if you don't have an unlimited marketing budget. Why? It makes the sale easier. More on this later. In my case, opportunities for innovation were mainly on the website. It's 2004, so hiring a high-level web development agency would cost tens of thousands of pounds. Plus, I enjoyed developing it, so why not do it myself? This gave me full control to add any features or changes I wished, even if they didn't exist yet. My direct competitors only sold whey protein in 5 veggie bags. This created a gap in the market. I filled it with much more customization, so customers weren't stuck with one flavor per 5 ghee. You could create infinite formula options. Trailblazing. I was also the first to sell ultra fine oats, unflavored whey protein, Fluv drops, i.e. flavors, liquid egg whites by partnering with a French supplier, and much more. This meant people would choose Myprotein more often as I had multiple unique selling points, USPs, and I also developed an automatic price matcher so we could never be beaten on price by our copycats. This customer-centric approach is part of my philosophy. Be like water philosophy. Water always takes the path of least resistance. I could make a whole thread on this too, but that's always what I prioritized with Myprotein. What do I mean by that? I empathized with my customers and focused on adding value. In business, that's the least resistant path because it makes everything easier. Marketing, pricing, scaling, reputation management, retention, mental and spiritual health. Studies show that entrepreneurs are twice as likely to suffer from mental health issues than ordinary people. And while I loved what I was building, it wasn't easy. I wasn't used to all the responsibility and just had to adapt. I was a young man in his 20s, responsible for paying salaries and managing a multi-million-dollar company. Combined with my 16-hour workdays, this sure did affect me. And as the study mentioned above shows, I'm not the only one. But how do you deal with it? I tried to recognize patterns when my thinking became fuzzy. When you notice the patterns, take a step back and take a break. Your company needs you at your best. Hiring comes with its struggles. Another topic I could write another thread on. The most important rule is be careful. Look for shared values. Always look for the best fit. Try to understand their personality. Not all that shines is gold. People aren't always what they portray themselves as in interviews. On chess leadership. I made a tweet about this recently, see below, but it's one of the most critical parts of leadership as many companies try to scale without developing the pieces they need. Definitely want to note. Getting ready to sell. Selling a company is a lot more work than most people would expect. When I first consulted a corporate finance company, they told me it was not ready to sell yet. Why? It relied too much on me. Because although I had the operations running as a well-oiled machine, the only person who understood the big picture was me. So I went back and worked on the company's structure for 12 months and almost tanked the yearly profit before selling. Well, it wasn't that easy. In between, there was a lengthy negotiation process with several finance groups and some twists turned. But this thread is already quite long, so let's keep that for another time. I hope this has been helpful to you. There's so much more I'm going to break down in the future, including marketing, the mindset, negotiations exits, managing a leadership,